Hey everyone, Scott from Dearly Departed here. Since we're closing up the museum, I'm going to be focusing some YouTube videos on some of the artifacts that we have been collecting over the years, and some of the photographs, and some of my own collection. And what I'm going to show you today are a few of the autographs I've collected over the years and how I actually collected them. So I hope you like it, and let me know if you do, and subscribe down below. And a special shout out to the newest Patreon, Great Scott. I like the name, and thank you very much for listening and watching, and stay happy. Okay, I'll start showing you some of my autograph collection now. So here, let's see, Eve Arden. Eve Arden, I wrote her a fan letter in the 80s, as were a lot of these that you're going to see today. We started as fan letters back when they didn't do autograph shows, and they didn't, they were genuine fan letters. It's different days, different time now. Let's see, the Andrews sisters, a friend of mine got that for me. Patty Andrews and Maxine Andrews both signed that one for me. Laverne, long dead. B. Arthur, another one who was receptive to fan mail. Very kind note I got back from her. Actually, several autographs I got back from her. And I ended up weirdly spending some time with her in London. And that's when she called Betty White the very bad word that rhymes with runt. This is, let's see, I believe it's Frankie Avalon. I don't know where that came from. Somebody gave that to me. This is Lisa Loring and Ken Weatherwax, Pugsley and Wednesday Addams. An old, somebody John Aston on the other side too. So I met him, I met her, and Pugsley, we have him. So let's see, who's this next one? Ed Asner. You're fired, or is it fried? Haha, best of life, Ed Asner. Nice guy. This is one that Troy and I stood in line for, because Troy's a big fan of Bionic Woman, and I wanted to meet Richard Anderson, who played Oscar on $6 Million Man, because he lived on Cielo Drive, just below the Tate House back in 1969. So we stood in line and we bought this to make sure that we were going to get something out of him, and it's kind of interesting because he must have printed these himself, staring. So we were talking to him for a little while, and I asked him about living on Cielo Drive in 1969, and he said, "Oh yeah, I was there." And he was like this big wind-up story, and my wife had just had a baby, and we were at home, and I remember the helicopters. And then another fan came, and he literally shoved me aside to get to the other fan who had a couple of bucks. So that's kind of funny. Her and Edie Adams, who this was given to me too. It's a mad, 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 mad world. Not sure where that came from. So that's the A's. Let's go on to the B file. Some of these are. My mother gave me this one. This is Tex Beneke. My mom met him. Some of these are. Let's see. George Barris, who was the man who customized the Munster Mobile. And he claimed James Dean's Porsche. I think he put a sticker on it. And the Batmobile and the Monkey Mobile car customizer. Adrienne Barbeau, fan letter, fan mail from some flounder. Another fan letter I wrote to Ruth Buzzy, very kindly sent me that. Let's see, Jan Barry of Jan and Dean. I did meet him at one of those autograph shows, and we talked very briefly. He was nearly killed in a car accident, and after they wrote the song Dead Man's Curve, it wasn't written about his accident, but Jan Barry was nearly killed, and it was never quite the same after that. And he was a very nice guy. Didn't spend much time with him, but I did. Bob Barker, fan letter. Valerie Bertinelli, fan letter. Let's see. Conrad Brooks. I forget where I met him. He was in the Ed Wood movies, and he was making was doing the circuit back when the movie Ed Wood came out with Johnny Depp. Billy Barty, autograph show. Karen Black, good luck with the tour. She was nice, very kind. Let's see. My brother gave me this one, George Burns, because it shows his pool house, and we have a door from that pool house in the shop, and or in storage now. But yeah, that's why my brother gave me that. I was into the Brady Bunch. A lot of people were, and I was following them around and getting autographs from them, writing them. Actually, not following them around, but Ann B. Davis, Florence Henderson, Mike Lookinland, Sherwood Schwartz, the creator, Barry Williams, Susan Olsen, and Christopher Knight. So I don't have E. Plum or Maury McCormick or, oh, there's Ann B. Davis. Yeah, we did that one. Or Robert Reed. But I got a nice note from Ann B. Davis. Asking her for permission to send her something for her to autograph, which, and then that was a fan letter I wrote to Barry Williams. Thanks for writing. Let's see, lots of B's here. My buddy Perry from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Perry Beddens, who you probably heard if you watched the last vlog, and you'll hear again too. Somebody gave me this one, Diedrich Bader. He was Jethro in the Beverly Hillbillies movie, and Drew Carey Show, and a ton of other things, but I mostly knew him for the Drew Carey Show. I met the Banana Splits in person in Detroit at Cobo Hall. And look at that. They even autographed it for me. Except I think Snorky spelled wrong. Yeah, Snorky with a Y. Snorky spelled it with an I. It's not the real Snorky. Let's see. I think that's Peter Bogdanovich. That is the B-52s. You got that with the fan club, and all four of them, and they're real signatures because I ended up meeting most of them a couple of times, and they did match, and they are written in pen, different colors. And look at that. Here's the Banana Splits again. I have a few of those, I guess. Let's see. I did write Lucy a fan letter, and I did get this back. I don't know if it was an auto pen thing. There's a bit of a smudge there, but I did write her at her home on Roxbury Drive, and I did get that in response. So I choose to believe it to be real, and I don't care if you think it isn't, because in my mind, it is. I did get one of these from George myself. I did write George Burns myself, and then I got this one. Or unless this is the one I got, and this goes with the Pool House one, I think. Yeah, this is the one I got. Somebody told me that's auto pen. I know that Mel Brooks was sending these out, and those are pre-printed. Ed Burns, I did meet him at an autograph show. Beth and Tim, radio hosts in Chicago, who I loved. Lauren Bacall, I screwed that autograph up big time by putting it in plastic. Peter Benchley. Let's see, Tony Basil. Oh, there's Tony Basil again, Easy Rider. We just met her not that long ago. What's this? Beulah Bondi. I'm not sure why I got that or how I got that, but I did get that, Beulah Bondi. And somebody called Shirley. Stop calling me Shirley. And Susan Backlini, Chrissy from Jaws, who signed her picture. Actually, I did ask her to do that. Eat me. One of my favorite celebrity encounters on the tour throughout the years was a lovely woman named Eileen Bowman. And if you were fans of the 1988 Academy Awards ceremony, where Rob Lowe and Snow White did the opening number, Eileen Bowman was Snow White, and she was on my tour, and she was so sweet, and I got her to sign a couple of autographs for me. That's my kind of celebrity encounter. Love it. There's her with Army Archerd at the rehearsal for the Academy Awards. The Blue Fairy. Oh, you know what? And here's something that's really, really cool. I wrote a fan letter to Mr. Ballard, who discovered the Titanic. And I got a nice note and a card back from him. an autographed picture. Because I said if I was young enough when he found the Titanic, I would have chosen that as a career, to be like an oceanographic like scientist. And because what he did, what he found when he found the Titanic, I thought was pretty cool. And this is the letter I got. Thank you for your recent letter and your support in our projects. Per your request, I'm enclosing an autographed picture. I hope this is a welcome addition to your own Titanic collection. Thanks for taking the time to write. A very, very kind gesture for just 1994. Was I 22 or something like that? So, or 32, 33, whatever. Anyway, that was nice. Ballard, yeah, I like that. And let's see. Let's move on to the C's. Legitimately, Cheetah from Tarzan. Cheetah is now dead, but if you sent Cheetah $100, Cheetah would send you a painting that was done by Cheetah, which I have at the shop, and an autographed picture. So truly, it was the chimpanzee sanctuary, I guess it was. I got this too, but they came along with it. But yeah, with the donation, and you choose a color, and they would paint it, and Cheetah would put a thumbprint on it. Sid Caesar and Imogene Coca. Imogene Coca was in a play in Chicago. Was it Driving Miss Daisy? Possibly. And I sent that on to Sid Caesar. So I have that. Tony Curtis, I wrote him a fan letter and got this back in return. My wonderful friend Devin and Dylan gave me this from Josie Cotton. He could be the one. Johnny, are you queer? I met Roy Clark in St. Louis. He was doing a concert, and my friend Steve took me. This is Sadie. Well, you know, we talked about Sadie a few times. That's Sadie from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Cha-Cha from Grease, who's passed away now, Annette Cardona. Angela Cartwright and Billy Mooney from Lost in Space. This is Karen and Richard Carpenter, signed to Jerry, who was Jerry Marin from the Munchkins. That was sent to him, and it's signed by Richard and Karen, although Karen only signed her first name. Chubby Checker, pre-printed, but my aunt gave me that one. We need more Calgon this is the gentleman who was in the Calgon commercial. Carol Channing, who I met at an autograph show. No, actually, I met her at a book signing. We talked for a little bit about her friend Shirley Eater, who was a columnist in Detroit. Johnny Cash, I wrote him a fan letter. Got this cool autograph back from him. The Man in Black, in red, white, and blue. Let's see. This is another. Oh, that's a fan letter I wrote to Carol Channing. And let's see. Norm Cash, this is back 68 Tigers. That was a big deal in Detroit. The Tigers, when they won the World Series. Now, Adriana Castellati, who was the voice of Snow White in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and also in The Wizard of Oz when the Tin Man sings, Wherefore Art Thou Romeo, is a little voice that comes into the song. So she found out what I did, and this is what she wrote. Dear Scott, I'll see you in the hearse while I work in my garden. Adriana Castellati. It's just fascinating choice of words. Seems like a nice lady. And then I saw Wendy and Lisa from Prince fame in Chicago, and in the audience were John Cusack and Joan Cusack. So I had John Cusack sign this piece of paper that I carried around in my wallet because I had some of the records I wanted to buy. And then I was a big fan of Working Girl, and I had Joan Cusack write $5,000 and it's not even leather.